are so glad you are with us. It is SportsCenter from LA. That's Stan Verrett. I am Linda Cohn. We the North, we are indeed the champions.
Yeah, before the season, the Raptors traded away their all-time leading scorer, DeMar DeRozan, to get Kawhi Leonard, even with no guarantee that Leonard would stay beyond this season. And that gamble led to a jackpot. The Raptors' first NBA title with Leonard leading the way as the MVP. Raptors fans didn't get to see them win it in Toronto, but they celebrated together Thursday in Jurassic Park as their team ended the Warriors' run on top of the NBA. The party is in Toronto, and it's fitting that Toronto won it on the road. They made themselves at home at Oracle this season, winning all 4 games in both conferences. Remember, he did it for the Spurs in 2014 when they knocked off another super team in the Miami Heat. He led the entire playoffs in points, rebounds, and steals this postseason. Third player to win the MVP for 2 different teams, joining LeBron James and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Hey, who knows what the future holds for Kawhi Leonard, but as of Thursday night, he's the king of the North.
Just to be able to win this championship this year is just something special for me, because you know how the last year everybody was looking at me, and I stayed true to myself, and I had a great support system. And once I got here to Toronto, they understood everything, and the move kept moving from there.
Get through the East and the chances where you were going to be playing Golden State. I mean, I probably stayed up late and watched Golden State more than anybody just for the heck of it.
Hard work, never saying anybody, never letting nobody tell you can't do something special, and just a great group of guys. I mean, I wouldn't be here for these guys if it wasn't for these guys. Yeah, I can't really think right now. This is crazy. This is awesome, man. Toronto, Canada, we brought it home, baby. We brought it home.
Oh, it's amazing. You know what's amazing? Toronto finished 4-0 at Oracle and 3-0 in these finals. They're the first team to win 3 straight road games in the NBA Finals since the 0-1 Lakers against the Sixers. And Toronto made this run to the championship without a top 14 pick on the roster. In the common draft era, which dates back to 1966, they became the first team to win a title without a top 14 pick. Toronto beat the reigning champs, becoming the second team in NBA history to beat the reigning champs in their NBA Finals debut. Here's Coach Steve Kerr on the Warriors' run.
This just doesn't happen. It's just a group of guys like this don't come around together and do what they did over the last 5 years. And I've been lucky enough to be their coach. That's what I told them in the locker room. I can't tell you my gratitude in terms of just being put in this position, to be with this group and to coach them and to help them.
Our DNA and who we are, and you know, the character that we have on this team, I wouldn't bet against us, you know, being back on the stage, you know, next year and going forward. So really proud of the way that we fought to the end. And this 5-year run's been awesome, but definitely don't think it's over.
Everybody thinks it's kind of end of us. That's just not smart. We not done yet. You know, we lost this year. Clearly just wasn't our year. You know, but it's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. But yeah, you know, I hear a lot of that noise. It's the end of a run and all that jazz. I don't see it happening though. We'll be back.
They got their inspiration now. But as long as we have newspapers, still we have newspaper headlines. And here's the one from the Toronto Sun, and I love it for the Raptors. Prehistoric. Always great to see Michael Wilbon, who joins us now on SportsCenter. Michael, you've covered the finals for a very long time. What word do you think best describes this amazing title run by these Toronto Raptors?
Well, Linda, can I use a hyphenated word and say battle-tested?
Yes.
I mean, when you go through this sort of series alone, I mean, they had the run, of course, included, you know, getting through Milwaukee, and just laying waste to the Celtics, but getting through a Milwaukee team that had a 2-0 lead, and then to get the Warriors, and let's face it, we know the Warriors were diminished physically, first without Kevin Durant, then without Klay Thompson, but still, the Warriors kept fighting them. I mean, you lose a person, and Klay Thompson. You see him come back out of the tunnel, and what people here hope to be sort of a Willis Reed effort. He hits the free throw, and he can't go anymore. And yet they knew they were still going to be in a fight. And, you know, sometimes these things are exaggerated when they're compared to prize fights. I think it's very fair and apt to compare what we saw in Game 6 here to a prize fight.
You know, you mentioned the injury to Klay Thompson, of course, the injury to Kevin Durant in this series, and many would just think about this series and think about those two key elite players out in big spots. These guys are free agents this year. Michael, what impact will those injuries, do you think, how will that make an effect on the market, if any, with these two guys?
Well, it's interesting, Linda, because the reporting we've heard so far from Woj and others is that there seems to be no diminished interest in Kevin Durant whatsoever. And it seemed like Klay Thompson, the conclusion drawn by a lot of people is that he was going to be here at whatever the price was going to be anyway, right here across the bay now in San Francisco instead of Oakland. But you're talking about Kevin Durant with an Achilles injury missing next season. And we're talking about the possibility of both those players, all NBA players, missing the entire season for the Warriors. I mean, at that point, you're talking about a diminished team that even with Draymond Green and Steph Curry and the other cast they assemble, you're looking at a team that's going to, you know, be challenged in the Western Conference and have its challenges at just getting to the playoffs at a reasonable seed and trying to see what they can scrap together in the playoffs. And that's if those players can't return. And Steph Curry afterward, it was taking all this into account when someone asked him, and he answered by saying that this loss was more motivating than the victories they have, and there have been 3 championship victories, of course, for that core group. And that's a lot of motivation that could be needed even with a new building and a transition and a proud new tradition going into the next chapter.
That's the way to look at the glass half full, Warriors fans, instead of the glass half empty. Way to spin it nicely, at least for the Golden State side, and well done, Toronto, and well done to you, Michael Wilbon. Thank you as always.
Thanks, Linda.
All right, we're just getting started.